Welcome in to Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us on today's show. You have questions, I have answers. Time for another award-winning Seahawks Rumors Mailbag. Before we get started, though, hope you're having a great summer. We're celebrating the Summer of Jones all summer long here on Seahawks Today. I'm enjoying some time with my sister in Kansas City this weekend. Got to see Machine Gun Kelly. Had a little good time up there, and we're still rocking and rolling here on Seahawks Today. If you're having a good summer, hit the like button, and we'll get started with today's show. So the first question in the inbox today comes from Dat Fat Rat. He wants to know, hashtag Seahawks, hashtag Daddy Jones. Daddy Jones. I said last week it was okay to call me Daddy. Didn't want to go by Papa necessarily, but now you guys have my mom asking questions. Like, she's wondering, what's the whole deal with this Daddy or Papa thing? So don't get me in trouble with Mom, guys. Anyways, the question goes to Daddy Jones. Now that Baker got traded to Carolina, should the Seahawks go after a quarterback in 2023 in the draft or in free agency? Good question there, and I got to tell you, I don't think the Seahawks have a choice but to go after a quarterback in the draft in 2023 now. And this class is so much better than last year's class. In 2022, that draft, we saw one of the worst quarterback draft classes in the modern era. Luckily, this upcoming year, there is some good quarterbacks. Not necessarily the Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence level of elite quarterback, but good quarterbacks nonetheless, starting with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Seahawk fans, I'd highly encourage you to watch a lot of Ohio State and Alabama football on Saturdays this fall, because I think there's a pretty decent chance one of those two guys are going to be the Seahawks starting quarterback next season. Andre wants to know, since Jimmy G, Sam Darnold would be the only feasible ones open, again, I ask, would we be most likely to have Lockett and Smith piggyback off each other this year because of Jimmy G's injury/salary hit, plus Darnold's productivity levels not being on point, then go for a quarterback in next year in this upcoming draft, perhaps Anthony Richardson, KJ Jefferson, or Bryce Young? So if the Niners cut Jimmy G, I think that's a possibility. I don't see the Seahawks trading for him. And Sam Darnold, remember all the stuff we talked about with Baker Mayfield and that whole salary situation? He's owed about the same money that Baker Mayfield was supposed to be paid this year. So it doesn't make much sense to trade for Sam Darnold, and I don't think the Panthers are going to cut him either. So with that, look, the thing that I liked about Baker Mayfield was, of all the quarterbacks out there, there was at least somewhat potential. I think that Baker could have been a long-term solution. None of these other quarterbacks out there can be a long-term solution. So I don't necessarily like the idea of spending money on a quarterback right now. I think you're going to ride with Geno Smith or Drew Lock. You've traded for Drew Lock. Geno Smith knows the system, and you'll see what happens, what works from here. I think that Drew Lock ultimately is going to be your starter when the season begins, but neither option is necessarily that great in all honesty. But Jimmy G and Sam Darnold, you know, I've liked both of them at different points in their careers, but right now is not the right time, I don't think, for either quarterback in Seattle. If you had to pick one, though, of those two names, this is our pinned comment today. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it. Let me know if you had to pick between one of these two, Jimmy G or Sam Darnold, who would it be? Type JG for Jimmy G. Type SD for Sam Darnold. New Skyline Productions wants to know, between DK, Tyler Lockett, and Dee Eskridge, who do you think will have the best chemistry with Lock's playing style? Well, here's the thing. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's Drew Lock or Geno Smith, whoever it may be. As a new quarterback, I would just have to think that when you're trying to figure out an offensive system, go to the big 6'4", 230-pound receiver, DK Metcalf. That would be what I would do. Doesn't take an expert to quite figure that out. But I think DK Metcalf is going to be your number one target. Tyler Lockett, a very good possession receiver. He'll be good as well, but then there's a drop-off from there. Dee Eskridge, I think, is going to be solid, but he's not going to be quite to that level of those two. So I would lean towards DK Metcalf as being the go-to receiver for whoever is the quarterback for this Seahawks team, quite frankly. Next question from Trying to Judge Yo Engine by Yo Paint Job wants to know, if you were to attend the Week 1 Broncos at Seahawks game, would you boo Russ, cheer him, or would you cheer him during introductions but boo after that? Okay, first off, I am 26 years old, and I cannot remember the last time I actually just booed somebody, okay? I think booing is beneath me now. Even if it's some team or something that I desperately despise, whatever, I don't think I'm going to go out there and boo anybody, okay? With that said, though, as far as how I would treat Russell Wilson, look, I think that the smell test has always been, when it comes to these players and when they leave and move on, did they bring you a championship? In Russell Wilson's case, he did. So there's a championship that's to his name. That you look at other circumstances. LeBron, I don't think Cavs fans hate him nearly as much as he did the first time because he brought them a championship. Oklahoma City fans in the NBA don't like Kevin Durant at all. He did not bring them a championship before he left. You've seen these other circumstances play out in other sports. With that said, Russell Wilson passes the smell test. So, no, I would not boo Russell Wilson. You thank him for his service. You appreciate him, recognize him that night, but then you try to go beat him. That's the ultimate prize of all, is try to go beat him and win that football game. That would be more satisfying than booing or anything like that. Got a great deal that we're offering Seahawks fans here on Seahawks Today. A combo of shirts. This is a T-shirt and long sleeve, the throwback Seahawks gear back to the AFC days. Best part about it, 25% off now while supplies last. Get yours at chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. It's a great deal. It looks great. And you have two shirts for different occasions. It might be a little chilly outside, just enough to get the long sleeve, you're covered. If it's a hot day, you want to wear short sleeves, you're covered there too. Get yours now while supplies last. Chatsports.com/Seahawks combo, 25% off. Dalton wants to know, do you think the Seahawks should start Coby Bryant? Now, we talked about this earlier in the week. If you haven't watched our video on this, I strongly encourage you to do so, about Coby Bryant. He came over to the Seahawks from the University of Cincinnati in the 4th round. And the 2021 Jim Thorpe winner was just incredible in college. For me, it's amazing the way that he slipped into the 4th round like he did. He was viewed as a breakout star in OTAs and was just terrific. And he's really coming along here. I think that Coby Bryant has a pretty decent chance to start. It seemed like when this was brought up when he was drafted, it seemed far-fetched, but the progress that he's making, and when you compare him to the rest of the corners on this Seahawks team right now, it's not a great position. It is a hell of an opportunity for Coby Bryant here. I think he could start. I would lean towards yes, that he will start as one of those outside corners when the season begins. And I don't see that as a bad thing at all. That, to me, would say a lot about him, of what he was able to do to win over coaches and win the battle in practice. There's no reason to think this won't be a fair competition for those cornerback spots. If he's on the field, he earns it. I think that he's got a good shot, and he will earn it, quite frankly. What about you guys? Will Coby Bryant start for the Seahawks? If so, type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know. And today's show is a mailbag show. And you may be asking yourself, well, how do I get involved? How do I get on the Mailbag show? The only way to do so is by being a subscriber to Seahawks Today. Going to our community tab, and each week we ask you to submit questions to us. You guys always deliver with great questions, but if you want to be a part and get your questions in the future, you got to subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, so you can be a part of the next Mailbag next week here at Seahawks Today. Got another question from Game Edge. Game Edge wants to know, with calling me Papa Jones again, thoughts on my new channel name, Game Edge? I like it. That's fine. Do you think our running back room will be reliable this year? Absolutely I do. I really like this Seahawks running back room. Look, I don't know who necessarily is going to be the main starter between Kenneth Walker III and Rashad Penny. I don't think it really matters. It's going to be by committee. Both guys will do well. Chris Carson, we don't expect to be back. That with that horrific neck injury that he'll likely be cut or retire, one of the two. But with those two leading the way, this running back room's in great shape. I'm pretty excited about what this running back room is going to put together and what they'll do to run the football. We know the Seahawks are going to be a run-first team. They have the running backs to be able to do it. Rotate those guys, keep them fresh. Watch out. Going to be a lot of fun to see what they're able to do at that running back spot. If you made it to the end of today's video, we thank you for doing so and being a part of what we do each and every day here on the channel. Hit the like button if you made it all the way through, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.